The Ministry of Healing and Reconciliation started in Rwanda after the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. Since then, God has promised Rwanda to one day be the light and source of lasting peace, where nations will come and get to learn from the ashes that turned into beautiful flowers.
I was praying with two other expats and for the country, and in my mind's eye I could just see Rwanda covered in ashes, and it was such a picture of despair. And I said, but Lord, you told me you were the God of hope. Do you have hope for this situation? And as we prayed, the picture in my mind began to change, and I saw some beautiful red flowers growing out of the ashes. And I told God then, I think it was May 95, I said to God, I am going to trust you that we are going to see beauty coming out of Rwanda's ashes.
After the genocide against the Tutsi, it was very obvious for Rwanda that we needed to treat the pain and the trauma of the genocide, because in 95, 96, Rwanda was a very wounded country. All the infrastructures, institutions were destroyed, but also the human soul was in much pain. People were living in fear, in anger, in bitterness, and included the Christians.
The International School of Reconciliation is a residential workshop and training to equip Christian leaders to be facilitators of biblical healing and reconciliation in their home contexts. Welcome to Rabagirana Ministries in Rwanda, and we are the hosts of the International School of Reconciliation 2022. You're welcome. Participants from different countries come with lots of different expectations. The school starts with a 3-day workshop because we believe that a healed heart can help others to heal too.
When I was coming to this conference, to get more information as much as I could on issues regarding to healing, particularly on the wounds of the tribal war that has wrecked our country. And I came here also with full expectation that I will be able to learn, not only in a class, but even outside the class, what happened in Rwanda. Therefore, to be able to draw huge lessons.
I have heard about the HHTN workshop before from a very good friend of mine. He tried to share some components of it, which I have found to be very powerful. So I wanted to see for myself, and I really wanted to experience the healing, but also the full experience of being in a place where ethnic reconciliation has become possible.
My expectation was to see if what I learned here from the International School of Reconciliation, if the things and principles would be applicable to North America. And I wanted to be in the place where it actually happened. And so I was given this opportunity to come here to Rwanda and to see, okay, what is this like? To have the feel, the taste, the texture of Rwanda in terms of how did peacemaking happen?
I mean, for a few reasons. One is I love Rwanda. I love the president, the development that have taken place in this part of the world. And secondly, I came with that high expectation to learn from the experience of this training or seminar that goes on here, and just how the church and civil servants and the government are working together to bring unity. And this training has been one of the, central forces of bringing that unity, and which we can see. So I came with very high expectation, and that expectation is being met.
Indeed, there have been a lot of change in me. I have seen myself not the same. The time I came in 2018, I was totally a different person when I came to Rwanda. But after attending the reconciliation workshop in Ravajirana Ministry, it was amazing, and it has changed my life. And since then, I've started working hard to make sure that my young people, the youth that are suffering from trauma in South Sudan, those who are suffering from wound, long-time wound, and also the wounds of the conflict that erupted in 2013 in my country, has really destroyed many lives. It has all destroyed, and hatred has been so much in my young people. So I said, I have to go ahead and change their life.
I think for me, coming here to Rwanda in 2018, it gave me this big encouragement, but also a strong testimony that this ministry is at God's heart. And while we were preparing, also participating in the workshop ourselves, but also preparing for the practicum, I really seen how God can use this, but mostly me and us as a team, to bring healing to people.
Beginning the workshop by looking at the goal of reconciliation, using the model of the Trinity as the God's desire for how we were to relate to each other, sets a foundation that's different than anything else I've seen. And so our goal is very different than other reconciliation programs or trauma healing programs. Most trauma healing programs are focused on individuals and helping them work through their individual trauma, whereas here we're looking at also collective trauma, the trauma of our groups, looking at the pain not only of us as individuals, but also looking at the pain and losses of our people, of our group, and then finding healing for both of those. So that communal aspect is incredibly important. I mean, for reconciliation to truly happen, it's much bigger, I think, than the other programs I've seen.
ISO 2022, we visited the Genocide Memorial, which is located in Kigali, and where very many lives of Rwandans who were killed in 1994 are buried.
Going there was really facing the reality. And my heart was truly broken. But I learned huge lessons. One of the huge lessons that I learned is that genocide did not happen just overnight. It was premeditated, pre-planned, with a clear strategy of how it can be carried out. And what breaks my heart, the mercilessness of the people who carry out the genocide on the people, including the children, who are very innocent. That really breaks my heart.
I did pray a lot. I'm not an emotional person in some areas, but I'm very emotional when I hear of death, suffering, and other areas of life that people go through pains and, being neglected and looked down on. So I prayed so much about visiting their memorial, grants. And when we went, it was hard. From the start, I had my emotion until we came to the children's section, where I literally broke in tears. And it reminded me of what happened in Liberia, especially to my tribe, where, children were thrown into the well and killed. So I was really emotional in that area, and, I shed tears.
I didn't realize all unknown lives and then to have those names attached to those lives. Because when you hear about it in the West, it's just numbers. But to actually go through the memorial and to read the names and to walk through the history and to have that more concrete example and experience was profound to me. I think it's something that I will never, ever forget. I think I'll be processing this for years to come.
Umusozi Ubumwe, which means Unity Mountain, is a project run by Rabagirana Ministries, and this project brings together genocide perpetrators and genocide survivors to live together in harmony through different programs that we run, including Healing Hearts and Transforming Nations. In this community, Ubumwe Mountain people are able to live in unity and in peace.
We wanted this village to be a model where the people who come to the schools will go and sit with the people, hear their testimonies, but also learn from them. They do crafts, they do many things together, and which is a very strong testimony that reconciliation is practical and leads also to prosperity and development. So not only the schools, but also to any other person who want to learn about healing and reconciliation, we encourage them to go to the Unity Mountain.
What amazed me is seeing perpetrators together with the victims. It's something that is so unique of the Unity Mountain, and this is something I will bring home.
I said if it's possible here in Rwanda, then it would be possible in Hungary too.
It was a wonderful contrast between the profound pain, but also the exhilarating hope that Unity Mountain brought. Everything from the children dancing, from hearing the testimonies, and to see actual live examples, actual human beings who were once perpetrators and survivors, actually living in community to one another. We don't realize how rare that is. And to actually witness that is something I will never forget. And it really gave me hope. Because I came here really skeptical about, can that really happen?
Man, the Unity Mountain was moving. I would long to see that in Liberia. I would long to see where perpetrators and victims are living in the same community, where perpetrators will come out and say, I did this, but, God has helped me. And where victims will come out and say, these people did this, but we are one. We are one because of God, and we are one also, because of the holy nation.
The mountain of unity, I can still also add my own word, is the mountain of unity and hope. From the genocide, from tears, from brokenness, from woundedness to hope.
Training of Facilitators, TOF, is run for 5 days, and which ends with a practicum whereby these participants are given an opportunity to run these workshops in various places as part of the package. Delegates return back home with an understanding and a hope that people can live together in diversity, in peace, and in love.
For me, what it given me hope that it is possible for people to live together like this, and also not just to teach, but show reconciliation. And then I was very excited with going home and asking the question, would this be possible in Hungary?
If anything, I would probably take back to the United States. It's probably for me a renewed hope that if that can happen in Rwanda, then that can happen in the United States, even given sometimes very awful stops and starts that happens.
Therefore, there is hope. Although it look very difficult, but with God, there is nothing impossible. He will do it. He has done it in Rwanda. He will do it as well in South Sudan and in every parts of the world. That is the hope I have.
Seeing what God has done in Rwanda, again, gives hope in these seemingly hopeless situations, because in some ways it was even worse here. It was so acute, and God worked so dramatically. And so if God can do that here, then there's hope for race relations in North America. There's hope for reconciliation with the indigenous peoples in the Americas. There's hope that we can learn to live together and celebrate our diversity.
There is no situation that is impossible for God. Often every country feels their country is the hardest, is the most impossible. But we found that the same Holy Spirit can work miracles everywhere. I've now worked in many different countries, and I haven't seen any countries where God was unable to change hearts and to heal, even people who were bitterly divided there. So it's a message of hope, and that God is a redeeming God. He is a God who can turn loss into gain. And he's a God who can bring beauty out of ashes. He doesn't waste our suffering, but he can turn it into something beautiful. And I think that's the greatest hope for the world today.